And welcome everybody to the OHIO podcast Sunday Night Roundtable. I am your host for the evening, the not so wild man tonight, Chris Wilds. I am joined, of course, by Dr. Cory and by Johnny Bullitt as well, Cory's former co-host. So this should be interesting, guys. I think I may just sit back and watch a little bit, let you guys reminisce and go at it. But
do you remember how to do this? I don't know. What do I do with my hands?
What do I do with my hands?
What's going on?
How's it going tonight, guys?
Doing good, man. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm doing great. Good to be on here, Chris. Sorry, that sounds like you're stuck in the fish tank, my friend. That does not sound fun, but we'll try to help you out. What are friends for?
It's gonna be all right. We're gonna be all right tonight. But hey, we are the official podcast of Scarlet Game and Fansided, as well as the College Huddle. So go over to Scarlet Game and Fansided and catch out lots of awesome articles written by a ton of just very talented journalists, as well as catch our audio version over there if you don't like the way we look. And well, you know, Eric's gone tonight, so I guess that means that my mug's the only one these guys aren't going to like. So,
jeez.
What if the viewership is through the roof? You know, what does that do? You have difficult conversation with Eric after that?
No, because I'm just keeping the seat warm. That's all I'm trying to do tonight, guys.
Eric, we got to talk about the numbers here, man. We were at 800 listens.
Chris,
that'd be great.
Chris with typhoid pneumonia setting records.
Yeah, well, you know, it wouldn't be the first time. I'm a trendsetter, man. That's how I do it. All right, guys.
Chris is toughing it out for us tonight.
That's right. And the chat is live tonight as well, guys. We've got Andre in the house. We've got Curse Design. Tyler's up in here tonight. We got Dennis Moore. Got all kinds of folks.
Lunatic Fringe. The Lunatic
Fringe. Hey, you know, and I actually have my official Lunatic Fringe.
You know,
right here.
You know what that reminds me of whenever Kirk said that, and you know, I think others have debunked kind of that pretty seriously, but I don't know. I grew up in Southern Ohio, about an hour from Cincinnati, so I was right on the cusp of 102.7. It's a hard rock and classic rock channel, and I don't know if anybody in the chat in Southern Ohio that listens to 102.7 as a kid. This is early 2000s, right? But it was always 102.7 WEBN, the Lunatic Fringe of American FM. So now, every time I hear Lunatic Fringe, it just takes me right back to those, you know, early high school days. Every time, the Lunatic Fringe of American FM. It's a radio station Cory would listen to.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that too, because if I'm not mistaken, you know, there was a wrestler, Dean Ambrose, went by the Lunatic Fringe, and I believe he was actually from Cincinnati as well. If I'm not mistaken.
Now we know where he got the name.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. WEBN hits Kirk Herbstreit with a nice lawsuit. How about that? Who's a lunatic now, Kirk?
That's right. That's right. Hey, so let's hop in. Let's get started with this show tonight, guys. And man, we got some great topics, but I think the hot topic right now is the combine, or maybe it's not. I don't know. You look at the Ohio State guys, and not too many of them did a whole lot this year at the combine. We had some guys who improved their draft stock, I think. We had a few guys that may have hurt themselves just a bit, but we only had 3 guys run the 40, but man, they were impressive.
Yeah. I mean, nobody more than Q, right?
Yeah, Q with the 4.48 at his size, 221. I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah, and because I remember people look at the long run against Notre Dame in a Natty game, and they say he got caught, and I think he's got J.K. Dobbins type speed. where it's a little deceptive, more quick than anything. But I mean, honestly, he just locked himself a first round draft pick. I gotta believe. I mean, they know the production's there. They know he can block. They know he's selfless. They know he'll take a role where he'll duplicate with somebody else. And you're just worried about his top end speed. And I ain't got to worry about that anymore. Wait till he gets to the pro day and runs his cone drills and things like that, and you find out how quick he is. He's already strong, you know that he can carry a load, or he can be a compliment. So he's all he can do anything. So first round draft pick lock.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Johnny, he just mentioned Quinshon, but how about Travion in the 4.43 that he ran?
Yeah, to be expected that he posted the best time of all Buckeyes. However, I think he's got more in him. You watch him in Q play, and you're like, there's more than 5/100ths of a second difference between those two. That's why it's so impressive that what Q did at his size to even get close to Travion, because on the field, Travion just bursts, right? And it could be, it could be one of those things where people say, well, you got to wait till pro day. It takes months of rest and proper training just for that 40 to really put an explosive time. I think if you watch, I expected 4.39, 4.38, maybe 4.4 flat from Trey. Maybe Cory and I talked early. Maybe it's a 0 to 20 burst that's really impressive, but flat out speed as an asset he has. There's very few backs in the league with speed like him. And it's a very fast burst. So, he's faster than the corner that ran on the team. So, good enough, I think, for him. I think a pro day would bolster him even more. But 4.43, not surprised in the least. If anything, I think he's got a little bit to trim there.
Yeah, and you mentioned it there, Johnny. Denzel Burke, 4.48. Good speed, but do you think that he helped himself at all, or just kind of stood pat?
If anything, stood pat.
Status quo. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything he did to separate himself at all. I mean, I don't even know if he's totally recovered from that Oregon game. I mean, he had a really solid second half of the season, obviously. Name wasn't called a ton, but I mean, he didn't make any big plays or splashy plays either. I mean, I don't know. You're gonna really have to study the film on him to really feel good about drafting him. There's nothing in his numbers that go, oh yeah, take this kid. He's an athlete. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah, he definitely didn't jump out at you like an Akuta speed or and then he's not as, maybe a guy like Marshawn Lattimore isn't just jaw-droppingly fast, but he's so sticky to a receiver. Denzel showed glimpses of that early on, so maybe that's where it overcomes. Like Cory said, people, 4.48 as an NFL corner, I almost feel like is status quo, dime a dozen, but also not bad. Like most starters are probably in that area, So I don't want to run him down. That's not slow by any means, right? But it's going to be, how well does he play the position? How are his hips, the agility drills, to see if he can separate himself into, getting off the board before top 20.
Yeah. Now I'll tell you, Tyler brings up something here before we dive into maybe some guys that might have hurt their stock a little bit for the Buckeyes. Did anybody hurt their stock here maybe more than Tez Johnson? Here's a guy that he's 154 pounds and only ran a 4.55.
That's like smaller than Oregon's old LaMichael James and other.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a bad day. I gotta think Tez is faster than that,
or he's just really quick at least. I mean,
yeah, but 154 pounds, Tez. You knew the day of the test. You knew they were weighing you. You couldn't have drank a gallon of milk and water. Like Tez, you knew. Maybe he couldn't drink the water because then he'd have to run. But I mean, drink the water and then say you have a hurt hamstring, play it and run at pro day. Like Tez, a $154. I will say, not everybody's 154 pounds are created equally. That was Cory's live birth weight. But I will just say that, maybe he is like Devontae Smith, where he's really slight but deceptively strong. I'm surprised you make it to Division I football being 154 pounds without getting snapped in half.
I think even if he ran a 4.31, people would look at that weight and go, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a solid birth weight, but NFL Combine,
He's not
that's
a
high
big
school weight.
guy.
That's
Yeah.
high school weight.
Can you imagine this guy going across the middle and running into a linebacker? They're going to snap him in half.
Yeah, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already, dude. I'm really am.
Didn't he miss time this year?
He did.
I mean, so therefore you have the health questions on top of the weight questions. Now your speeds in the 5.45s. Okay, you're a 6th-round draft pick now. I don't know what else. I don't take him up in one of my top draft choices. Absolutely, I take a flyer on him in the 6th round.
Now I gotta Google something, guys. What's the lightest player ever at the combine?
Well, it wasn't me as a baby. So
No.
Did your parents try? And I will give you a guess. It rhymes with Shmez Schmonson as the lightest player ever at the. Well, he's certainly lightest this year. I can't find. No. Yeah.
Richard's right on here. Any of the offensive linemen's leg weight is 154 pounds.
The leg weighs 150. Yeah.
Yeah, we should make a thing like how many times can an offensive lineman bench press Tez Johnson? That should be a new test.
That's lighter than they're used to by 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you somebody who probably could bench press Tez Johnson, and that's one Will Howard. Will went out there, didn't run. Going to save that for the pro day. Had the lowest rating on the vertical jump at 31.5. Lowest rating for a quarterback on the broad jump at 9'4". The 7.13 in the cone, the 4.33 in the shuttle, respectable. But doesn't blow you away. And then you saw him go out there and throwing, and he had some definite timing issues on those deep passes.
And Shadur Sanders came to his defense of all people.
Yeah. And I love Will. I love his leadership. But how much do you think that he got hurt at the combine?
I think anybody who talks about him as a 1st-round draft pick at this point, I'm talking about executives, they're just trying to blow smoke to get somebody to reach on him. Because at best, he's a 3rd, 4th-round draft pick. And I think he's a guy that he showed he can improve. I mean, Ryan Day had done wonders with him. And he's shown he can make great passes. It isn't like he's never made great passes. But that being said, again, it's in shorts, new receivers. You have them thrown with them, and stuff like that. There's timing issues. I mean, I get that. And there's an element to that I think the coaches take into consideration when they're actually watching these guys. But, I mean, the game film's going to have to say more than what his combine results did, obviously. But, I mean, again, to me, he's a guy you take the 3rd or 4th round. Maybe someday he develops into a starter like a Kirk Cousins type. But that being said, you don't take him with the idea that he's going to be your franchise guy. You take him because he's a great locker room kid. He's coachable. He's a leader. He's got talent. Definitely got talent. And you see what happens with him. But that I just don't. Anybody who was talking about 1st-round draft pick, I just didn't understand it. I think it's just hype. I just think he's definitely a 3rd to 4th-round guy. And I'm not knocking him. I love Will, but I think that's just the reality of it.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Johnny?
I think if this was 10 years ago, Will Howard's praying with that combine to even get off the board at all. Nowadays, I mean, we just saw Jalen Hurts win a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson is borderline almost won his 3rd MVP this year. Quarterbacks who can't throw great nowadays in the NFL, you can build a system around them like you do in college to make them successful. I mean, come on, guys. Jalen Hurts just won a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts is bad. Like he's not a good, like you knew who he was coming out. None of us thought we'd be sitting here saying that, right? So Will's biggest saving grace is that he plays in this day and age in the NFL. If I'm a team and I can say, yeah, I could build the whole thing around him, but the teams that do that are already, San Francisco could take a late round with him. I could think he'd do what Brock Purdy's doing. The only teams I think can really build around him is maybe Arizona, maybe, I doubt it though, maybe obviously Philadelphia, but they got their guy. Baltimore, they got their guy. So I think when it comes to just flat testing measurables, letting it rip, Will is kind of who we always thought he was. I think the game film is going to have to save him, because I do think he's better than what a combine will show. I think he is a better quarterback than what a combine will show. But to Cory's point, I just don't know that a GM is going to be like, hey, first round, this guy, do it. He's going to have a great pro day. I think he plays better again than he can test. I'm not saying he's as bad as he tested, but it's man, like Cory said, who's going to go first round with him? I just feel like it'd be a waste of a pick, to be honest. And I'm a Will Howard fan.
Yeah, I am as well. And I'll tell you, one team I didn't hear you mention, I think maybe would be somebody that might look at him, especially if they can get him in a bargain later, might be in Miami. Because you think about Tua and how much is he going to be out there, you know?
Yeah, so, be a vegetable soon.
Yeah.
Gosh. What they're doing to Tua is borderline criminal.
It really is. It really, I mean, somebody needs to step in there and say, listen, this guy does not need to be on the field anymore. The league needs to step in at this point.
15 concussions later, and we don't need him to be a vegetable at 35, you know?
So. Yeah, absolutely. And then the other guy we heard that, you know, might have hurt himself a little bit, and more so because of measurables than anything else, is Jack Sawyer. You know, he has a small
Johnny, cover your
wingspan.
ears.
Hey, I love Jack Sawyer. I do. I think he's great.
We all do, man.
But, you know, he does have a small wingspan. We can't deny that. I mean, we looked it up. What is it? 6 inches shorter than JT?
Yeah, like
5. Yeah.
And he's got small hands compared to JT.
He's got smaller hands. But, you know, like Will Howard, man, that guy's just a gamer.
Yeah.
But there was also a couple plays, I guess, during the position drills where maybe he had some footing issues. So some people are saying that may have hurt him a little. I don't personally think it has. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't. I think Jack's a guy that they know he's talented. They know he can play, but kind of been a tweener. You know, what position you really putting him at. He's not completely a defensive end at the next level, at least not in the prototypical system. I think, but you know, I could see him having a John Cooper type of career where he actually puts up some seasons that kind of surprise you and like, wow, I really didn't think he was going to be that good. He's another Will Howard guy with more talent. I mean, to me, he's heart leader. He's just a guy you want in your locker room. I mean, I'd take a flyer in the second round on him just because, like, look, even if he's like an average player, he's just an infectious attitude we want in the locker room that can help build the culture that we need to win a Super Bowl here. I completely believe that about Jack Sawyer. Now, and I would tell my defensive coach, figure it out, because he can play. He's not terrible by any stretch of imagination. Quite frankly, he had a really good year last year. Now, figure it out, get him on the field, and make him a locker room leader. And did he hurt himself? I mean, some GMs are dumb and they only look at measurables.
Yeah.
And I mean, just stupid. They make bad decisions year in and year out. And this is why they're out of the league in 3 years, or their franchise is continuously bad. It's because they don't look at guys like Jack Sawyer and say, you know what? I know he doesn't have the measurables, but dang it, he's got the heart. He's got what I want in a locker room presence. And he's also a good player. He just happens to be a really good player too. And he comes from a university that played big boy football, you know? So,
oh yeah,
I just say, you know, if he did hurt himself, it's with the GMs that are like, oh, I don't like his hand size. Forget it. You know,
Johnny?
Yeah. To go on with that, like, yeah, JTT's got longer arms. Jack Sawyer has a longer strip six sack to seal a national championship. Jack Sawyer has more sacks. Jack Sawyer, you know, you think, okay, what's length good for? Leverage and, you know, hand movement. But dude, you just swatted a dude's hands down to his ankles and made a strip six. He had, you guys see the batted balls Jack had? He had more PBUs than some defensive backs. So I'm not concerned. Like Cory said, if you're a GM and you're a little bit put off by his length, it's not like tiny by any means. He's just not a giant, you know. Then I got to think you're really dumb. Like, Jack can play. We saw how he played basketball in high school, how he ran. He's a good athlete. He was 260. I mean, Cory sold it like he was 225. He's 260. You know, he can play. I'm not. Now, he didn't do. I say he didn't do himself like favors by showing up not huge, but he is the size he is. He can move. He can play.
Yeah, there was nothing he could do about that.
Yeah, right. And I mean, Sam Hubbard's had a really nice career at Cincinnati as the off defense. I think he can have that type of career. Cincinnati picked him at 17. I wouldn't be very upset at all. I would say that's a great spot to spell Trey Hendrickson. I think Jack, you can do different things with him. And like Cory said, he reminds me of a little bit smaller John Simon, maybe.
Yeah.
And John Simon actually did get converted to, I think, a stand-up linebacker in a 3-4, but similar position. He's going to
wasn't it Bill Belichick who used him that way?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes.
And so may even been Patricia. I think that was pre-Patricia, but may not have been. So I think Jack's fine. He just didn't wow anything. I think if anything, it's just I think more than hurting Jack, it helped JTT because JTT didn't have a ton of production. But then you look and you say, well, he's huge. Like he's got a really long arm span, and he's I could see Pittsburgh taking a guy like JTT and just being a run stopper for years to come.
Yeah. Now the other guys, I mean, we had a lot of guys didn't do a whole lot. Now I know that I believe Tyleek actually did some of the position drills.
And he looked great.
He looked great. This is a guy who's going to be a first-round draft pick. I
Easily
believe that.
I was going to ask about that. How did he look movement? Because, I mean, it's 331 pounds.
He really well. His footwork
he is so
excellent.
freakishly athletic at that size. It doesn't make sense. He's a first-round draft pick unless teams are just dumb, which they are. Green Bay needs some defensive linemen. I would love it if they got him. He's a disruptor. We got DeAndre Wyatt from Georgia a couple years back. He's been off and on. Go get me Tyleek Williams. That dude will disrupt line of scrimmage.
I mean, that is insane that he showed up at 331 and or 326, whatever it was, and it wasn't harmful. You know what I mean? Like that he can move at that size. I'm not going to say he's Ed Oliver, but that's something like you would see from a guy like that. You know what I mean?
Well, Ed Oliver was also 280, wasn't he?
Yeah, but the movement, you know what I mean? Ed Oliver was, oh my gosh, you got to have this guy type of guy.
I think Tyleek's close to that too. I think he's close to like, gosh, he's such an. I don't know who's the elite defensive tackle in the draft this year, but I know Tyleek's got to be in that top 3 range where it's like, dude, we need a middle 3 tech who's massive. I mean, he's a massive 3 tech. That's how fast he is. That's crazy. I know he played nose tackle for it, but I mean, like he can play 3 tech.
So obviously these guys looking for big showings at their pro days. All these guys, we saw so many of them not do a whole lot, but let's think about this for a second, guys. How many do we legitimately think are we going to break the record for guys taken in this year's draft?
I think we get 15. Does that break the record? I think it ties it.
It would. Well, I think 14 is a record, isn't it?
I'm not sure if it's 15 or 14. I can't remember. It's one of them. Georgia, I think, has it, don't they?
Georgia does have the record, yes.
Yeah, we're gonna. Everyone who you think is going to get drafted is going to get drafted. I don't see Will fall into undrafted free agent.
No.
That would be your biggest question mark.
Well, do you think there would be a chance that maybe some of these guys coming off of injury could possibly fall out? Maybe a Seth McLaughlin. I don't see it happening.
He's probably a 3rd round pick or so.
O lineman too much of a premium, yeah.
And Jackson and Simmons both are looking 1st round. So,
and will there be any concern at all about Lathan Ransom's injury history?
I mean, there's maybe, but he'll still get drafted probably 2nd or 3rd round. So
you think he'll still go 2nd or 3rd?
I think he did himself a lot of favors by showing up at over 200 pounds.
Shoot, by the end of his career, he was hurting people.
Yeah,
he was. Gosh, I've never seen. Yeah. G Scott, that's a good question. I don't know that G will get drafted. I was also thinking about
he'll get an invite.
He'll get an invite somewhere. Yeah,
I would love if Cincinnati pulled him in like the 6th round because they do that little late release, keep the tight end in to block, and then just release late and try to get the because their O line's terrible, and he's a great character kid, great locker room guy. I would, dude. If my team picks him up in the 6th round, I'd be all about it. I'm manifesting it that Jack Sawyer's going in the 1st to the Bengals. Trey Henderson's going in the 2nd to the Bengals, steal of the draft, and then in the 6th we're getting G. Scott, and that's just the way it's going to go down.
I hate to disagree with you, Johnny, but the Browns
No,
are
you
getting
don't.
these guys.
You don't hate to do it.
No team needs better character more than the Browns.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree that they need it.
But here's the thing: I don't want the Browns culture to crush their character. That's the problem. Like Dunder Mifflin slowly just destroys people over time. I did some, but I mean, like, look.
Hey, listen. As long as it's not a quarterback, they should be okay.
Actually, Will Howard would make a lot of sense.
Cleveland is where quarterbacks go to. I know he does. He makes a whole lot of sense up there.
Who does?
I'm scared for
Will Howard.
No one makes sense up there. Is that why he makes sense? Like, nobody makes sense up there.
You know, I got a hot take for you though. I actually think G. Scott's going to end up being. He's not going to get drafted. But he'll get invited. And what will happen is he somehow carves out a 10-year career in the NFL. Because
I can see that
he'll be like a bit of a niche player, and not a journeyman. He'll be on like 4 teams or whatever.
Yeah.
But he'll have seasons where he gets like 21 catches and like 400 yards and stuff like that.
I mean, think about it. The guy came. What about a guy sticking with it, change of position, sticking with it until he? I mean, what he did all 5 years, never transferred. I mean, if that doesn't show he's got that stick-to-itiveness, I don't know what does. He's a very, a man with a lot of character, very well-spoken man. I think, he could slip in and maybe help you break the record. I've heard people ask, let me ask about this, Josh Fryer, if he's a draft pick or not. I've heard some people say no, some people say yes. To me, I say, look, Isaiah Prince started in the NFL. So I don't see how Josh Fryer keeps from being a draft pick.
I mean, he could be a guard somewhere.
Now Fryer's not got that. At least Isaiah Prince had like, hey, I am huge and I can maul people in the run game type thing. But he's so terrible in pass pro, and he made it to the NFL. I would think, in a Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure that's scary. But I think that's a good thing for Fryer. So I don't know. You could, Simon's definitely going. I mean, the list gets longer and longer. McLaughlin's going. Yeah. So
Johnny's actually predicted 17,
potentially 17.
Well, I did. Man, that would be awesome.
I guess is it 17 if G and Fryer both get drafted? If Fryer
would both get, then you're looking at 17.
I think you got to get one of the two drafted, don't you? And then that's 16, and that's the record.
I can't believe Josh Fryer didn't even get an invite to the combine, because I'm like, do the NFL scouts really not desire him at all? I mean, he was a starting right tackle for a national title-winning offensive line. You wouldn't even give him a look?
Yeah, it is strange. Maybe it's just he doesn't. Maybe they felt that he was hidden. They hid him as a player. Ran a lot of counter. Maybe it's his. Is just he doesn't have a lot of great measurables. I'm not sure, but that is an interesting point, Corey. Like you just hung a banner and you started all year with
a 2-year starter at Ohio State.
Yeah, that is strange. That is strange not to get. I know he started off rocking Browns.
Just to piss Chris off.
I don't even have the energy to deal with this tonight.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie, Chris. If that actually happened, I'd be thinking of you and just rolling over laughing.
You know what the good thing about like the McCord personality is, probably if the Browns took him, he'd be like, nah, I ain't doing it.
You pulling Eli Manning?
Yeah, he'd be like, I'll just go play in Canada or something.
He'd pull like a 3rd round Eli Manning is what.
Like I'm not going there. Like, you're bad enough on quarterbacks in the 1st round. What are you going to do to me?
Right. All right. So that pretty much wraps up the combine, guys. But I'll tell you, we're going to have a lot more to talk about these guys as we come up on Pro Day.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be really exciting to see what happens there.
Pro Day is going to be the day, and I also want to see the buzz after Pro Day just dropping in everybody's ear. Does Emeka stay first round? And could Trey slide into the first round? Question for the chat. Could Trey slide into the first round with a sub 4.40?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Because he can do everything
so.
else well. If he has that crazy top end speed, people, all right, give him to me, please.
All right, here we go, chat. This one's for you while we get ready to start the next topic. How many first round picks do the Buckeyes have this year?
I'm going 6. Oh, first round picks. Oh, I almost
First
said
round
16.
picks.
16.
If they have 16 first round picks this year,
if we went, I don't care if we won a natty. If we went 10-2 with 16 first rounders,
you fire Ryan Day.
Yeah, give him a trophy and fire him.
First rounders.
Lunatic has us at 7.
No,
I think that's a little much, guys.
I think 4 on the best day. Wait, no, 5.
5 on the best day. 4, I think, is the.
Yeah. So who you? Emeka is absolutely a first rounder.
Emeka, I think, is a first rounder.
Late first rounder, yeah.
Is Tyleek going in the first round?
Yeah, I think Tyleek first round. Yeah.
Josh Simmons is going in the first round.
Donovan Jackson.
Ah, really?
I think Donnie slides.
Yeah, he's creating some serious buzz right now. Yeah.
At what position?
Tackle. They like him at tackle.
Okay.
If he was a guard, I'd say no, but tackle, yes.
Okay.
So that's 4.
There's 4.
I think Quinshon definitely.
I think we can assume one of the running backs can slide in.
One of the quarterbacks can slide in. A lot of things got to go right. But
I've got a ceiling at 5 right now.
I don't. Is it out of the realm of possibility somebody takes Jack Sawyer at 23? I don't think that's goofy. Do you?
I'll put the ceiling at 6, and I think the floor is 4. I think.
I'll put the ceiling at 7 and the floor at 9.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No, I think. Ooh, that is Lunatic may not be so. I mean,
he is a lunatic.
Here's the thing.
7's a lot, though.
You can talk me into 7. You can talk me into 4 because I can say I can get a Quinshon Judkins in the 3rd round. I may not get him, but I can get one really close to him. I can get him, dude. How good you see great receivers in the 2nd and 3rd round all the time.
Yeah, but there's always teams that reach for these players. I mean, they see the 4.48 on a 220 guy, and they're like, "Oh, that's my guy. He needs a production runner." So,
I mean, it's got to be. I guess we got a lot of guys that we think about between 15 and 30, right?
I mean, remember they allow the Jets to draft, so that just
they do allow, and the Packers. While we're here, Cory,
45 is going to be actually pretty hot and heavy for the Buckeyes.
That I will go, man. If the
15 to 45, I think, is heavy for Buckeyes.
Mm-hmm.
You probably get 8 in the first 2. I think we can all agree on that.
At least.
I think for whatever reason, I think Tyleek's just an absolute surefire first round. I can't see anybody passing up a defensive tackle that athletic, and he was an absolute menace on film. A menace, even for plays he wasn't in on. You could see him destroying people.
And when you're talking about slipping into the 2nd round, did you see Ty Hamilton standing there in his sleeveless shirt next to Sawyer?
He was a beast.
What a giant.
Dude, he's a steal in that 3rd to 4th round range.
He had a pretty good workout.
Yeah.
It
looks like he's had a couple hundred good workouts in his day. I mean, that guy's a giant, man. His head or his arms were this big.
How much do you think his brother's development in the NFL, which was pretty good, he got a 2nd contract, do you think helps him? Because Devon been pretty good in the NFL.
Yes, and early, his rookie season, they were like, this Devon Hamilton guy's working out.
I think it all comes down to the right team. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
If the right team gets him, he could be on a path to a long career.
Absolutely. He'll be one of those 10-year guys if he gets on the right franchise, like you said. If he goes to the Jets, well, sorry, Ty, I don't know what to tell you.
All right, guys. So recently, Will Howard and some of the other guys who were at the Combine caused quite a stir.
Uh-oh.
And it was a stir in a good sort of way, though. Because they came out talking about Julian Sayin.
That's true.
This was Will Howard's comment. Julian is one of the most accurate quarterbacks I've been around. The ball just looks pretty coming out of his hand. It spins prettier than I've seen a lot of balls come out of quarterbacks' hands. he's got a real chance to be elite. So, guys, here's the question we got posed to us tonight. Is Julian Sand going to be elite? And if so, why?
That's a really good question. I mean, everybody seems to be a believer from the coaching staff on down. He's pretty much been handed the starting job next year. I know people want to say that Lincoln's going to push for it. I'm sorry. I just think that's fantasy. I like Lincoln. I think he's a good guy. I think he's good. I hope he stays because I think we need a veteran in that room. But that being said, Julian is the heir apparent without question.
But can we also all agree that by midseason, Lincoln, if he does stay, is probably third on the depth chart?
Yeah, probably. Probably Tavian will pass him up. I mean, that I don't know if they do that mid-season or not usually, but I mean, we'll see. I could see it happening because Tavian's the most gifted, physically gifted on that roster. But Julian fits what we're going to talk about this tomorrow, actually, in the therapy session. Julian fits what Ryan Day loves in a quarterback. He's very high IQ, very intelligent. He's got a quick freaking release. That's his one thing. And if he gets his footwork under him more consistently, Ryan Day's in heaven. And not only that, but Ryan Day is going to be in RPO heaven this year with Julian Sand because he can also do one little thing that something like Will Howard can't do or doesn't do is he can shift his arm to throw the ball in different angles and things like that. He's just that gifted of a quarterback. I mean, we have to see it consistently. Now, does he have the intangibles to be elite? We won't know that until he gets into hard moments, against good teams. But does he have the physical tools to be elite? And by the way, he's a better runner than people think. He's actually more athletic than people think. Because they say he's just a pocket passer. No, he can get out and scramble.
How much weight has he put on this offseason? That was a big question.
Well, he's going to have to be at least 210. Something.
He's bigger than Tez Johnson.
He was bigger than Tez Johnson as an 8th grader.
I crap bigger than Tez Johnson. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I think he has all the tools to be elite, and I think Ryan Day loves him as a believer in him. And to me, I've said this before, I think Ryan Day is the best QB developer in the country. If you that's just a marriage made in heaven. I do think I will say I would bet the over on him actually being an elite Buckeye quarterback. Guessing on what we already know, because nobody knows for sure right now, obviously.
Johnny, what are your thoughts?
There's something I just don't understand about the Julian Sand. I do not get the Julian Sand doubt. I don't get it. I don't get this.
He threw that one bad pass at one time. So.
You thought I was going to say hype. I don't get the Julian Sand doubt. You guys, you remember grown men were twerking when he flipped from Alabama to Ohio State. I mean, I'm pretty sure Eric was one of them. Like they were very happy that this guy was coming to Ohio State, and for good reason. I see him as the next CJ Stroud type. So if he's elite, yeah, I mean, CJ was elite. I know he had 3/4 of CJ's career. We were kind of like, CJ, you can throw the ball like an alien, but you kind of have this like non-competitive little thing you do sometimes. I see him as the best ball placement guy probably since CJ. I don't know if he'll have an elite year all season, or it will absolutely take some time to draw out.
Nope. Person completion benchmark.
Yeah. Right. He's gonna have to learn, right? How many Buckeye fans are just gonna scream for Tavion St. Clair when Sand struggles a little bit, but I think he's gonna be great. I really do. He can throw the ball. You look at the intangibles, I think, he's 203 listed, so he's going to be a little bit bigger by then. He looked a little baby face, so people started doubting. But guys, he's the same kid who you all really, really wanted. He was recruited as a we all know the kind of recruit Aaron Nolan was. He was a great recruit. And when Sand committed, we were like, oh, shoot. That's the trump card over Aaron Nolan. You just know. I mean, this is as much hype as we've had with a quarterback recruit on the roster since Quinn Ewers, and
that worked out really well
for Quinn.
Worked out really well for Jack Sawyer.
Listen,
That's true.
Well, listen, we recruited Quinn Ewers. By Quinn's senior year, Ohio State won a national championship. That is an absolute fact. So, right?
With
I mean,
and we were on our way to a national title with him on the
And
field.
ironically, Quinn Ewers threw both his first and last passes to Buckeyes.
There you go.
yeah, I mean, Quinn Ewers to Caleb Downs, that's a match made in heaven when we were recruiting, right? But yeah, I think Sand's going to be great. I don't know that he's going to be at game one. I'm pretty sure he's not going to be great game one, but I think this is the best ball placement guy we've had since CJ, and he's going to be just fine.
Can I just say, let's not forget, this is a guy that Nick Saban was drooling over.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's call it what it is. This is the guy who was the GOAT in college football. And he was drooling over this guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you have Jalen Milroe as your quarterback, you'll be drooling over anybody. So.
But here's the thing. And Nick Saban wasn't even a developer of quarterbacks.
Not really.
So imagine what Ryan Day has the ability to do with this guy.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's saying with Day. Good point, Chris.
And then let's not forget 3 other very big points to make along with that. And those 3 points are Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, and Brandon Ennis. I mean, he's
Quincy
got
Porter. Yep.
Yeah, you go to Quincy Porter. I mean, you could, well, first of all, we could sit here and name receivers all day long, but
True.
You know, our 7th and 8th guy would be starting at most teams in the country. So, yeah, I think the guy's definitely got everything it takes to be elite. The one thing that concerns me is the fact that we came off this great leader in Will Howard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Julian Sand is kind of more quiet, reserved guy. Can he step up and be a vocal leader for this team?
He seems to be trying to change that. Getting a new haircut, he's in and out of the workouts. Like first one to show up, last one to leave type. I mean, seems like he's trying to take that leadership role very seriously. And we know Ryan Day is very serious about you becoming a leader in the locker room as a quarterback. Doesn't always work out, but I definitely think the way guys are praising him at the combine ought to tell you that, you know, he's obviously liked by his teammates, and that's the first step, right, to being that leader in the locker room that you need. Is he a vocal guy? I don't know yet. We'll see. He needs to be, but I don't know if it'll start right away. That being said, once he gets battle tested, I think his voice will start to be heard and start to come about. And I just can't wait for the first half of the season when every Buckeye fan wants Tavian to start over him, and then by the end of the season, we question Ryan Day for not starting him last year, even though we won a natty. So,
yeah, I will say this too. With Will Howard's abilities, he had to be that intangible vocal leader to even be at a place like Ohio State, right? Sayan can be a step or two below that and still be a really good quarterback, right? Now, I would love to have the best of both worlds. Don't get me wrong. I would love him to be in your face like Ryan Day. So we moved to the huddle this year just because I need the team to look in Will Howard's eyes, right?
Right.
That's stuff that doesn't show up at the combine. JT Barrett needed that to be JT Barrett because he didn't have the other abilities, right? Sayan's going to have more leeway with that. Now, I still think you need to, CJ Stroud struggled with that, right? A little bit. He'd have that dopey look on his face and like, CJ, you just threw a ball that most quarterbacks in the NFL can't throw. Get in there and get fired up. So I hope you have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, and Dennis makes a good point. It took CJ a little bit of time to develop his leadership ability.
He was a redshirt freshman when he started. I mean, it's hard to expect that from that guy that young.
And that's where we're at, obviously, with Julian. I mean,
and that's where, you're saying it'll be year 2. Yeah.
The big question is, if Julian goes out there, is Tavian going to be willing to sit for 2 seasons?
Well, he came here knowing he might have to sit for 2 years. I think Tavian's a big enough Buckeye fan to do it, as long as he knows he's the next one up. But if this Brady Edmonds, or I can't remember his name exactly, comes in and he's starting to light it up, and then Tavian, I think, would leave if a younger guy started to surpass him. But I definitely think if Tavian feels like, okay, there's a plan in place, maybe Ryan Day's explained to him, because again, Tavian came from not the greatest competition in Ohio, and maybe not even the best coaching in the world in high school. Maybe Ryan Day said, "Look, you have all the physical ability to be the best quarterback in the country, but it's going to take me a couple of years to get you there. Can you please just sit and wait?
Yeah.
We got a guy who already we know is going to be the starter. You can even learn from him, but we have plans for you. We have big plans for you, but it's going to take some time. Please allow the process to work."
And it may also be a case of like saying, or with, if you're a great quarterback coming out of high school, I don't care if you're a quarterback coming out of high school, you go to a program like Ohio State where Ryan Day is a QB guru. Year one is not even in your thought process that you're getting on the field. That's just burn that, just put that out of your mind. Like Talladega Nights, just bury it deep down inside and don't ever let it out again. Right. I mean, the competitor in you says, yeah, I want a challenge for a spot. No true freshman's coming in starting at Ohio State in this day and age. So really the big sell will be, can you sell him to sit his second season? And if you're getting him some NIL money, and if Ryan Day's throwing him some Taysom Hill packages, throwing him a little love, letting him actually air it up and backup duty, that type of thing, I think you can. All you really got to do is drag it out the 1 year. He's getting paid, and then he's going to say, like Tavian, he grew. And the other thing, Chris, and you know this, you start out a little bit ahead in this battle because he grew up in what state?
Yeah,
he grew up in Ohio.
Yep.
He grew up in Ohio, the state that runs the world, the state that rules the White House right now, and right, like that is just that. So that you're going to go. I think we have a better chance of keeping him than people think.
Yeah,
I agree. If he didn't grow up a Buckeye fan, I think it'd have been a little tougher. But yeah, I think we shoot it like Johnny said, shoot him some NIL and just keep pushing. Bill Fessler and Ryan Day keeps it. Look, we have big plans for you. Brian Hartline, as well, as a greater recruiter as he is, might have to keep recruiting him a little bit, but we trust me.
We're gonna make you a number one pick.
Exactly.
He'll make $750,000 and get a new truck for holding a clipboard and running mop up, dude. Like that's a pretty good deal.
And exactly, just Chris said, this kid has every physical tool to be number one pick in the league, and Ryan Day can get him there. He got CJ number 2, and he probably should have been number 1. So,
and you know, this is a Tractor Supply, a TSC deal, just a NIL deal, waiting right with those initials. TSC, Tractor Supply Company, Tavion St. Clair. Come on, like I'm sure he's not Cade Stover out there, but this is just a screaming NIL endorsement. Tavion, get your agent on to Tractor Supply. The TSC deal should be really sweet for you.
But Bell Fountain isn't exactly Lexington, but you know.
Right. I mean, you go a few miles outside of the city limits, you're in TSC territory.
Okay, guys, we got one more topic to cover. We're going to take a quick commercial break, come back, cover that topic, and then in the chat, if you have any questions for us, if we have some time, we're going to wrap up taking a few questions. So we will be back momentarily.
Hey, Buckeye Nation. The OHIO podcast is thrilled to partner with Export Mouthguards, the innovators redefining protection in contact sports. Introducing the Ninja Pro Mouthguard, the strongest and most advanced mouthguard on the market. Engineered by dental experts, it's designed to deliver elite protection with a sleek, low-profile fit. Made with carbon fiber and multi-layer construction, it's impact tested to keep you safe from even the hardest hits. But that's not all. The Ninja Pro is 3D printed for 100% custom fit, offering unbeatable comfort and security for any athlete. From football to MMA, dominate your game with confidence while safeguarding your teeth and jaw. Getting started is easy. Use our home impression kit to create your custom fit and enjoy prepaid shipping. It's protection delivered right to your door. Plus, with a 1-year warranty and 100% satisfaction guarantee, and proudly made in the USA, the Ninja Pro is your ultimate defense on the field or in the ring. And here's the best part. When you visit exportguards.com, use promo code OHIO at checkout to get 20% off your purchase. That's right, 20% off elite protection made just for you. Protect your game, protect your future. choose Export Ninja Pro mouthguards, where innovation meets protection. Head to exportguards.com and use promo code OHIO today. Hey, Buckeye Nation.
And welcome back. And I just want to remind you to make sure that if you haven't already, smash that like button. Go on, subscribe, and hey, consider becoming a member. It's only $3.99 a month. And we will be working very soon on our Big Ten preview magazine, which will be out here just before the start of the season. That is free to our members. Also, you get some great members only content, free shipping on the store, which is behind me. Go on to our website, theohiopodcast.com. Check out the store, all kinds of great merchandise on there. And if you use the special members only, discount code. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
The pneumonia doesn't win.
It does not. If you use that discount code for members only, you will receive, of course, free shipping from the store as well. All right, guys. Just came off the greatest run in college football history. That playoff run, without a doubt, was the most impressive thing I've ever seen. If you look, CBS Sports, I just saw this recently. CBS Sports has picked Ohio State as the betting favorite to repeat as national champion. They are a plus 450. Texas is number 2 at plus 650. Oregon is tied at 2 at the plus 650. You've got Georgia at plus 700 and Penn State rounding out the top 5 at plus 850. So guys, CBS thinks it's possible. What does Ohio State have to do to get back to the championship game?
I mean, there are so many things that have to fall into place for that to happen. I will never there's one smart thing Colin Cowherd has said in the past, and I agree with him, is usually you bet on teams that, have veteran offensive lines coming into the next season. Typically that team's going to do really well, barring injury and all that nonsense. I look at it as one extra and a quarterback that has proven, right? Texas to me would be the favorite, but because I think Arch Manning has proven he looks like he's going to be a very good player. I mean, Dante Moore at Oregon, are you kidding me? Who knows? But anyway, going back to Ohio State. Sorry, I don't want to trail off. What do they got to do? Oh my gosh. Okay. We got to get started here. Julian Sands got to be as advertised. James Peoples is got to be at least an adequate runner for us. That new guy, Ethan Onwenya, has to be an adequate left tackle for us. We got to replace the right tackle, who's, I don't know if it's Daniels or Ian Moore, who knows. I think the interior line's pretty much set. Matt Patricia has to be a good D coordinator for us. Let's see, we have to replace 8 starters on defense, something like that. Sonny Styles has got to become a leader. We know Caleb Downs is a leader. We got to hope that Igbinosun can be the number 1 corner, or Jermaine Matthews. We got to hope. We got to find a freaking. I know. I don't know. And we got to find who our pass rusher is going to be. We don't know yet. Maybe Kenyatta. We hope. Defensive tackles, we're replacing Tyleik Williams, who's a super stud. Who replaces him per se? I mean, Caden McDonald will be in there for sure. I mean, Edric Houston looks like he'll be pretty good, but will he be Tyleik Williams good? I mean, I don't think yet, or I don't think he plays the same position anyway. So Arvell Reese, will he be able to replace Cody Simon? And who replaces Lathan Ransom? I mean, there's a million questions to ask here.
Well, Johnny, now that Cory's come out and said there's no way in hell that Ohio State's repeating, do you have any hope for the fans at all?
Yeah, I mean, Will Howard was begging for spare change under an underpass in Manhattan, Kansas last year. Now we just won a national title with him, and he missed 3 passes the whole game. Yeah, I mean, we could do it. I want to go back to the part. Oh, guys, this is gonna be the most replayed ever when Cory said Igbinosun's gonna be one corner. Not that he wears the number one.
I know. I said we gotta hope he can be.
Right. But I know that's what you said. It's just a funny thought.
I don't know that he's the number 3 corner on the team, Corey.
Might not be.
But that's okay.
Notre Dame. The play against Notre Dame where he just turns. He's like, "Oh, I'm lost," and he just runs and grabs a guy. It's like that is just.
Well, at least I won't allow a touchdown.
Your instinct isn't even to cover; it's to grab. Oh, it was. I think it was literally one PI per game. Anyhow, I think you got to get a corner in the portal. You have to figure out pass rush. Corey's right about most of these things. You have to I think you got to get a corner in the portal in the spring. You have to figure out pass rush. Now, it could be CJ Hicks, not likely, but you could do something cool with him. Never say never. I saw people improve. Guys like Tommy Eichenberg improve more over their career than I ever thought a player could. So maybe you do something with stand-up end thing with him. Houston and Kenyatta, hopefully they take that next step. Kenyatta's gigantic, but there was a clear trail off when he was in the game for JTT, that little bit of injury against Texas. The biggest, I would have loved to get it back in the portals. James Peoples is not either of the last two guys we just had. The offensive line, I think, will be actually much better. So that is a huge improvement. So one thing, though, I think you need is, like Cory said, you replace 8 starters on defense. It's more than that. And I've talked at length with Cory with this. You have to replace 8 NFL starters on defense. There's a difference. Because if it's just 8 guys that were senior-laden guys that they're not going to go to the NFL, but they were good enough to start, replacing that's one thing, right? But replacing a guy that is in the NFL, right? Am I making sense? When you're replacing the NFL, you not only have to be you're not just filling this, you have to be really good to fill the spot. And now, granted, could we be a little bit worse and win the title? Probably, if we took the regular season a little more seriously. But if you listen to Ryan Day talk, he doesn't really like to do that. He knows he can turn it on late. And we won every game by double digits in the playoffs. So there is that. So you have some wiggle room. But replacing 8 NFL starters, guys, has that ever happened at Ohio State? 8 NFL starters just on the defense? That's a big jump. So I think you need a portal piece or two. And I think the biggest thing that helps is the talent at QB. I don't know how well developed they'll be, but the talent is certainly there. The coaching staff is there. Patricia will have to learn on the fly and be really good on the fly. And I think the O-line is actually an upgrade. Given the status of college football, I can see why they are up there because, like Cory said, Oregon, you can make a huge detraction against them, why they're one of the favorites, but that is more of an indictment on the rest of college football than it is on Oregon. It's just that things are so wide open right now. I mean, we're talking about Arch Manning like he's never been you know what I mean? We've seen glimpses, that's it, and we're talking about him like he's the truth. So that's just the fact of where we are in college football. So it's possible. We got to do something about corner though.
Yeah. And offensively, I'm not real concerned. The running game worries me a little bit, but this is the one thing I'll say. We got Peoples, we got the transfer Donaldson from West Virginia, who's serviceable. But you know what? I really think that there's going to be some talent, freshman talent in that running back room, that if these guys aren't stepping up, I mean, I know it's a rare thing, but you go back, we've seen it with Travion starting as a true freshman. We saw it with Maurice Clarett starting as a true freshman. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that if these guys aren't cutting the mustard, for us to see one of these highly touted freshmen come in and fill that role. But you talk about quarterback. Oh yes, Ohio State's going to have a new starting quarterback, full-time starting quarterback. But so is Texas. So is Oregon. So is Georgia.
That's an upgrade.
So is Notre Dame. So is Alabama. If you look at the top 10 teams, 9 teams that are picked to win, only 2 of them, that being Penn State and Tennessee, have their full-time starting quarterback back. So the quarterback issues are not something that concern me that much, given the talent in our room and given the fact that everybody's going to be going through these growing pains. Now, yes, you take a team like Texas, and Arch has started some games. He's played a bit. And of course, the Manning name and the talent that goes with it, gives him a slight edge. I'm not going to deny that. But, I think that you've got all these other teams that are facing these same issues. I think we've got a good offensive line coming back that, again, got some playing time last year, which I think is going to be helpful.
Do we know Bowen can coach him?
What's that?
But do we know Bowen can coach him?
Do we know that? No.
That makes it more of a question mark in my opinion. But I do agree, talent-wise, they could be, on paper, they could be better than last year. I do agree with that. Only because Simmons got hurt. But pre-Simmons, I'd say no.
But corner-wise, I'm going to say, Johnny had mentioned going out and getting the corner, and it might not be a bad idea. But at the same time, don't be surprised if we don't see whether it's Scott or West or Devin Sanchez getting some serious playing time. Because I'll tell you, I just feel like we got a lot of talent in that room. Mm-hmm. So
we do.
I think the talent is there. The depth to me is the biggest concern. Obviously Johnny talked about replacing 8 NFL starters, and that is huge. But on the defensive side of the ball, especially, the depth is just not there, because we saw how long it took them to start rotating that defensive line last year. Man, they can't do that this year. They can't do that this year.
You saw the drop off too between string 1 and string 2.
But I think a lot of that comes because of the fact that they didn't get the reps.
Could be.
And I mean, obviously, you can't deny that there was a talent differential, and in fact, a lot of these guys were seniors. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. Ryan Day has earned that, but I'll tell you, to me, and somebody mentioned it earlier. And here it is, actually. Lisa, I think, I had it up there. I think the end of November is crucial for this team this year.
I've just written that one off. I just write that off.
It wasn't. It was crucial last year because, as we talked about, it wasn't the loss we wanted, but it was the loss we needed. We don't want it or need it this year.
No, they need to start turning that rivalry around this year.
Yes.
This is the year to do it. Because it ain't like, I mean, Michigan's also got a lot of their own question marks. I know it's in Ann Arbor, but we do have a team that's experienced into the playoff now. A lot of them have had reps in playoffs and had reps in national title game and understand what it is to be a championship culture. This is the year you got to, and Ryan Day finally has that monkey off his back and the pressure off. Okay, fine. You got that extension. You have goodwill with the fan base. Now go beat Michigan.
Not a chance. Not a chance they beat Michigan. If you can't beat them this year with our roster versus their roster, you're just not going to do it. And Ryan Day knows he doesn't need it anymore. If you listen to him in interviews, he knows, hey, it's free motivation. I lose the game. I go hang a banner. I'll do this all day. He's like Captain America. I can do this all day. I'll lose this game all day. I have the money to pull my kids out of school. I can build a school at my house. I make $12 million a year. I don't need the game anymore. He just said you don't need style points anymore. That's why he can go out and do things. And I think he plays with fire, like with the Michigan game, because you don't know. Oh, I was just trying to win the game. Well, you never know if you guys are going to have his worst day ever at quarterback. And so I don't know. I'd love to flip that one around, but I'll believe it when I see it. At this point, I guess I'm just resigned to trading that game for national championships. I'll make that trade for a while until I get sick of gold trophies.
I have no words right now.
I mean, it's just where we're at. It's just where we're at.
I don't disagree 100. I don't 100% disagree with what you're saying.
I mean, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Just where I'm at.
I don't disagree with what you're saying from a from a mental perspective. What you're saying is correct from a logical perspective. But I don't care about logic. I don't give a rat's ass about logic. I am about the passion. I'm about the hate. I want to take them down.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, if you're right. If I have to make a choice, the national title is what I want.
That's a terrible
But I don't
choice.
want to have to make a choice.
I don't either.
It's simple. You go out there and you beat them, and then you win the national title. Because I'll tell you, I am so sick of hearing those loudmouth, obnoxious, asinine, Ann Arbor idiots come onto our threads, come on to troll on all the different Ohio State sites and spew their nonsense. I'm sick of it.
Hey, Chris, where does Ryan Day land on your all-time list at Ohio State if he beats Michigan this year and repeats with all these question marks?
I think he's got to be number 2.
Easily. He jumps to number 2 in a heartbeat for that one because this is going to take one heck of a coaching job this year.
And I'll tell you what, he did one heck of a coaching job last year.
He did. I mean, I know we don't totally agree on this, but to me, he's an elite coach now because he won the title. But he does.
See, that doesn't do it for me yet. He's got to have a winning record versus the scum to be elite at Ohio State.
I would still put him at.
I'm at 4 with him right now.
I would put him at number 3 if he wins a title and beats Michigan next year.
You still don't put him over Urban?
No, God, I mean, it doesn't erase all the other crap. It doesn't erase it. It puts another notch in his win column, but it doesn't erase. You can't just act like it didn't happen. Like, I can't cheat on my wife a bunch of times and then like buy her flowers and be like, these are the best flowers ever, though.
I think
I'm the best.
Bigger than flowers. I'm just gonna.
I said the best flower. Buy her a car. Buy her a house. I can't cheat on buy her house and just say I'm the best husband ever. Like, no, And I always say this last year.
He's just paying you with you for the money anyway. If you got that kind of money.
This is I just say it like last year. He won the race with the fastest car. And he went 10-2 with the fastest car too. So,
but they can't say he was born on third base because every one of those players was his.
Oh yeah, I mean. The born on third base thing is dumb. It's so hard to get handed the keys to an empire and be very, very good. It's so hard. I mean, Lincoln Riley couldn't get it done. You look at, who Brent Venables getting it then from Lincoln. And then you look, the list goes on, right? That to act like you can just hand somebody the keys to a team and they can just get it done easily that is a fool's errand. That is a silly
look at Larry Coker at Miami. I mean, he won a natty there, but then the thing just disintegrated on him. I mean, it's like and he won it with Butch Davis.
Butch Davis's guys.
Yeah. And John Gruden won at Tampa with Tony Dungy's guys. It's just like that's the whole aspect of this is Ryan Day has not only he inherited an amazing program from Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer left it in good hands. But Ryan Day won a title in year 6 with his own program. I mean,
yes, 100% has a whole new rules, new era.
Yeah, it changes every other 2 years now. It's like, what in the heck now?
Yeah, it's not even the same. It's not the same game. I mean, you could argue Ryan Day. Now, I will say this to Day's credit: like I think he rewrote the book on this new era. How to manage NIL, how to manage the transfer portal. He's writing a clinic on this. He's just as new to it as the rest of college football, and he's schooling them on it. Speaking of Miami, I think Cory actually is upset that Miami doesn't have higher odds to win national title with Carson Beck next year.
I am. Yeah. I wish I could say it on the air, but there's a funny story about Carson Beck that was told to me, but I won't say it. But man, I can't. I promised a friend I wouldn't, but man, it's funny.
Are you ready for this? Miami's odds are plus 4,000. Two spots ahead of them is Michigan at plus 3,500.
I would actually trust Michigan over Miami next year.
That is wild. I mean, what an indictment. What an indictment on the program.
Carson Beck has had one half of a good year in his career and came in with Heisman hype and blew it. And he's not the answer. And they paid him like $4 million. Miami's a broken program.
CBS Sports has them as the 15th best odds to win the national title.
So let me ask you. Bootzilla puts that on there. So you think losing to Iowa and Purdue in that years when they didn't have the talent to go all the way anyway is the same as losing to a 7-5 Michigan team without their two best players, and the same and he races Urban going 7-0 in that game?
And Urban didn't lose those at home either, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, look, I forgive Day for the Michigan loss because he won a title, but it doesn't erase that it happened when I'm ranking factual things.
You can forgive, but you can't forget.
Yeah, which I know is not really like forgiving, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm good with Ryan Day. I'm good. He's great. Love him. But I'm not going to pretend it like Cory sometimes will go on a rant and list like all the reasons you have to win that. Like, dude, they're terrible. They have a walk-on QB. Their best corner's not playing. Their best offensive players
When
not
have
playing.
I ever gone on a rant like that? No, I'm just kidding.
It's just like, and then you lose the other games. Now, I happen to believe now you might, once the hammer drops, and I do believe it is coming.
Agreed.
Then the narrative starts to change. Then the narrative starts, because this Michigan loss by 3 is equal to losing to Iowa, Purdue by 30. You know what I mean? So then you start to get.
I say worse.
You think it's still worse?
I will actually go with you on this and say worse than our Urban losing those games. Yes, those were terrible losses, without a doubt. Nobody will deny that. We lost one game in 2018. It was to Purdue. It was a terrible loss, but we won every other game. I mean, it's like, okay, crap happens during a long season. Losing to Michigan when you're favored by 3 touchdowns at home, when you've needed to get that monkey off your back, and it stopped you from going to a Big Ten title game. Urban still won the Big Ten title the year he lost to Purdue. You know, not Iowa because I was Penn State's year, but still. That being said, I that to me was almost. I was literally. I went from I like Ryan Day to gosh, get him out of Columbus after that game, and then of course he redeemed himself. But the only reason why I put him above Urban is I think just he'd be the second coach to win 2 multiple national titles. I mean that's just something that's huge, you know, and beyond the national title itself. The only other coach to win multiple at Ohio State. That's just crazy huge.
Yeah. Now, with that, the only thing, that's a really good point. The only thing that would put that in question a little bit for me is longevity. Like, was this Day's 6th season this year?
Yeah, it was Day 6.
Yeah.
So it'd be 7. So that would be, you know, that'd be pretty good, you know. That would be impressive. I don't know.
It was only his 6th season as a head coach all around.
Period. Yeah.
Which is very impressive in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't come in with a manual or a playbook as to how to be a head coach of a major program. He got 2 years of tutelage under Urban Meyer while he was still trying to fix the offense so.
One thing, dude, that is people forget how impressive Urban is in year 1. Talk about not being born.
That's one of the greatest coaching jobs.
It's 6 to 7 to 12-0. And I know the team wasn't like a powerhouse team, and the schedule was fairly easy. But to go 12-0 with that team that was just 6-7, I mean, and then you know to win a title too. Like he said, I showed up to the title a year early and won it.
We had 2 superstars on that team and 1 solid player, and Carlos Hyde is the other really good player. Philly Brown's a decent player. Ryan Shazier and Braxton were the superstars on that team.
Yeah,
but you think about that year. That is a national title victory if we're not serving that.
Because you're under the BCS. Yeah.
You're under the BCS, and
you're playing Notre Dame.
We would have knocked the crap out of that Notre Dame team.
Notre Dame has no shot against the Buckeyes. It just does. It's one of those things that's just fixed.
Urban versus Brian Kelly. I take Urban every friggin' time.
Yeah, Manti Te'o coming off the loss of his girlfriend.
Corey,
you should. You shouldn't say that, Cory. But we'd have beat him.
If any, I hope one of the players said, "Hey, look, it's whatever," and he looked the other way.
Wow.
Oh man, but no, that was one of the greatest coaching jobs in Ohio State history. That 12-0 season, that was unreal.
That was blood from a turnip.
Yeah, exactly. That didn't make any. Even Urban going into that year said we're 7-5 right now. That's where we are.
All right, chat. So hey, if you guys have any questions you want to throw out to Johnny, Cory, or myself, go ahead and throw it out now. We've got about roughly 10 minutes left or so before we're going to wrap it up for the night. So if you have anything for us, throw it out there.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if that gets popping. We got a Michigan fan in the chat, and I want.
We got a couple. We got Blue Wolverine and Burks, who are both Michigan fans. But I'll tell you, a couple of the most grounded and most realistic and respectful Michigan fans you'll find, Johnny. These guys are.
You mean?
I figured they wouldn't be. I figured they wouldn't be here if they were degenerates.
They've actually both called in a few times on our call-in show, and actually really pretty knowledgeable football fans, even though they root for the wrong team.
We make the rules clear. I'm the only degenerate allowed. So
the only degenerate. There's only one Florida man around. They're not the Walmart Wolverines. It seemed like good dudes.
Bryce Underwood is a combo of Pat Mahomes, and Dan Marino, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, and Michael Vick. So.
What do you guys make of the TSC hype? Do you think it's a little insane for people to act like he comes in and starts on his first year?
That's Buckeye fanhood, man. I'm so used to it at this point, and you are too. You know that. It's like the second Julian Sain has a bad game, TSC should be starting.
The first interception that Julian Sain throws, they'll be chanting for TSC.
As if he'll never throw an interception in his career ever,
funny story about that. My cousin intercepted him, actually.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, my cousin played for Jonathan Alder and picked off Tavion Sinclair when they played head to head.
Did he talk trash to him?
I doubt it.
Oh, all right.
Do you think if TSC does develop, they will be more willing to let Sayin scramble a bit?
I think so, because I think if he's not developing it at a decent rate, you're going to see what we saw out of CJ the initial year, where it was like, and that's the thing. We all knew that CJ could run.
Yeah.
We knew he could.
First year.
His very first play was like a 70-yard touchdown scramble, 60-yard touchdown scramble, something like that.
It was a zone read, and he just kept it and went.
Wasn't it the game? Him and Jack Miller did it.
Larry Johnson was the head coach at that game, so that's why he got to run.
Yeah. But
Dennis got a question.
Yeah, I got a question. I was just posting up from Dennis there. Do we need to add another QB for depth during the spring portal?
If Lincoln deuces, yeah, which he probably will. If Lincoln doesn't, I think you're good with those three, right? But the chances of him leaving's got to be pretty high, right?
I think they'll bring in somebody who's just going to be. I want to be a QB coach someday. I'll come in and be your fourth QB, take reps off the other guys, and
Carson Beck maybe.
Yeah, I think Carson Beck will end up coming. He'll be in the fall camp of Miami. Like, okay, you got a dip, dude. We want our money back.
I hear Tate Martell's available.
He could be all right. He could be our Riley Leonard.
We got to call Paris Johnson about that one.
Yeah, I think so. Now, because Lincoln's got to go, right? I would love if he stayed, but I want a true freshman.
Maybe Lincoln's just realistic about who he is and says, I'm not going to be an NFL quarterback. I can stay at Ohio State, get to play for a national title contending team with one of the best coaches in the country, get a good education. And, maybe he's just realistic about it. Just one of those guys who just decides to stay.
But he also knows he could go to like Missouri and start,
Ooh, how's the most prove? That's a good question.
$2 super chat from Bobby Mack. He throws out his question. What position group has the most to prove?
I got two.
Oh, man, it's a three-way time. I'm going to talk through it here. I'll let you guys go first.
I'm going to go because I have so much faith in Julian Sain, I won't mention quarterback. But I will say running back and D-line. Those are my two most to prove. Although Julian Sain was close because he's new, but I'm confident he'll be fine.
I'm fighting corners and running back.
Are you spitting in Igbenogsen's face?
Yeah, I mean, he won't do anything about it. I'm fighting those two. I'm fighting corner and running back. I was going to say safety, but I really mean the other safety,
Yeah,
right?
nobody's
Because I don't.
touching Caleb.
You're right. So I think it's corner to win. I feel like the O-line can block well enough that Peoples is adequate. I think it's corner. I think. You see how confident I am in that? Bobby,
Yeah.
Bobby, sorry you're spending all this money on such a confident answer from me. I apologize.
For me, it's the two deep on the defensive line. I'm pretty confident our starters can get the job done. I worry about the two deep guys on that line. That defensive line is going to have a lot of inexperienced guys in those backup roles.
And they seem to be loaded with the guys that weren't highly touted when they were recruited here.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Blue Wolverine. He's spitting us out a question here. What's to say? Did any of you attend the Blue Jackets Red Wings? I did not.
Atmosphere looked great. Yeah. I actually,
I don't know. It depends on who you ask, right?
Yeah. So my brother-in-law messaged me, Kentucky sports fan. He lives in Kentucky, but a diehard sports fan, like they bleed blue basketball down there. I get it. Like huge sports fan, but he texted me, he said, hockey at the Shoe, is that sacrilegious? Pretty cool, And I was like, dude, that's cool. That's cool. If you can have Taylor Swift and Morgan Wallen at the Shoe, you can have hockey. It's better than it sitting empty, right? Like,
absolutely,
let it rip. Let more people see what an iconic place it is.
Lisa, we were Scarlet N Great, me and Johnny.
Allegedly.
He doesn't want to admit to it because of deposition. So
I'm caught. It's tied up in a RICO case right now.
Hey, we don't joke about being sued around here.
Bobby says he thinks it's linebackers that have the most to prove.
I think honestly, I've got
I'm
a lot
good.
of confidence in
Arvell's good. Arvell's good. Sonny's gigantic.
Depth there might be a concern again.
I don't know. I think depth. Well, I mean,
it's very young and inexperienced.
It is. You're right, and it's unfair.
Your third is C.J. Hicks, though.
Well, Peyton Pierce will be in there.
Is he though?
If he's not third this year,
end?
I don't think they'll put his hand in the dirt. He's too small.
Do
you think maybe they do a Baron Browning type thing?
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to.
You got to. He's
either got to do that or transfer.
He even said that. I mean, he even said, "Put me on the bleeping edge." I mean, it's just like he knows it, so put him on the edge.
Stand up edge out there and let it go.
My thing is like also the coaches probably say, Baron, you have to be able to do more than one thing for me to put you out there consistently. I can't just stand you there knowing you're not Micah Parsons where I can tell everybody. You're not prime Clay Matthews where I can tell everybody what you're going to do. And
there's a name from the past.
You know what I mean? You're not TJ Watt. So yes, we can use you that way, but that's all you could. If I need you to actually play coverage or run an assignment, I don't think you can do it. So that's the conundrum there.
That's a good question by Buck AP. I will say in receiving downs, yes, but Brandon Innes is such a good blocker that he's going to start in that spot. But Milan will play, and he will rotate with him for that for the receiving because he's just so dynamic of a playmaker that you got to get him on the field. So,
do you think he has a chance in special teams
as a returner or something like that?
Mm-hmm. No, kicker, Cory.
Everybody's got a chance at kicker.
Yeah, that's an open spot or something. No, man, Jay sealed the game for us. I ain't even gonna be mad at him.
He did.
Yeah, he lost the Michigan game. It was a big part of the losing Michigan, but he made up for it in the playoff at least. But I mean, I could definitely see them trying to. But since when do they use guys that are just electric backups as returners? I mean,
I was so glad they finally put Downs back there. I think Ryan Day. There's a few things. I think he doesn't like style points, and I think he doesn't like special teams like electricity. I don't understand, but he doesn't.
I love style points.
I do too. I like to. I want
to hang 100 on somebody.
People say like, "Don't." Or what are you trying to peak in October, and I'm like, I'm trying to peak September through January. I want to peak at all times.
I'm trying to let my second and third stringers peak in September and October.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Alabama beats teams. Prime Alabama would beat teams by 100 in week 1 and go win a title. So it can be done.
Yeah.
Not a either or. Now with us, it's kind of neither or, but right.
Either we struggle with Akron and win a title, or we beat the crap out of Akron and go 10-2. So.
Do you think you ever see that under Ryan Day? Dominance from week 1 to week 15?
I don't think you'll ever see that in college football again. Period.
Yeah, I think the days of that are over.
Because you
just
can't
because of the portal.
You can't hang on to players anymore. I mean, like Nick Saban would have 3 deep of NFL players and just keep rotating them in and beat the crap out of a lesser team. You can't do it anymore. And part of why Nick Saban left.
Yeah.
So if you regulate NIL, then you'll see it again because the dark money comes back.
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll see a Southern team do it again. Yeah.
Just eeny, meeny, miny below the Mason-Dixon. Someone will do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's been a topic in and of itself. We've talked about it a little bit, but man, Southern dominance just isn't there anymore now at the playing fields level. It's just
Isn't that weird. And how quick it was. You had 1 year where they did win a title. The year it was introduced, things are still, it's the introduction year. Then immediately after, they can't even get to the title game. Immediately, 2 years later, Notre Dame houses their champion.
Yeah.
I think he might be too big for that. But that being said, I'm wondering what they're going to do with it. They probably don't even know what they're going to do with him yet. A receiver? Is he going to be a safety? What are they going to do with him?
Because wherever the need is, that's where they're going to put him.
Exactly. He's like a Swiss Army knife. They're going to okay, we just like his athleticism. Let's take him and figure it out. That's a total Urban Meyer recruit right there. Urban Meyer was, he's a great athlete. We'll figure it out later. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks for that $5 super chat, yep. Bobby. I appreciate that.
Like $7 by Bobby tonight now.
That's $7 by Bobby. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right, I'm going to get me some McChickens.
7. There was a day, kids, when you could get 7 of them for that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I remember. I can actually remember they did the 20-piece nugget and fries was $4.99.
Jam it to some Creed.
Yep. Salt and pepper. Yeah.
Can you take me higher? You doesn't get better than that. $4.99, 20 nuggets. That was what the hospital
and fries
fed.
And a drink, man.
Yeah, that's what the hospital. That's what the hospital fed Cory when he came out at Tez Johnson weight at 154 pounds. I was thinking about the math.
That's why I was Tez Johnson weight, because all my mom ate.
I was thinking about your mouth guard sponsorship there. They should really cut a deal with Tez Johnson, so effective we can keep Tez Johnson safe. 154 pounds.
Wow. Unless he snapped the leg, I can't do anything about that.
All right, guys. We'll take one more before we wrap it up for the night. This one coming in from AB. How do y'all feel about Hensman at guard instead of center?
I'd be fine with it if we knew the center was ready. I mean, Hensman's our best bet at center right now. And if Padilla's ready, fine. Put Hensman at guard. He'll be starting regardless, and he's a great player. But you just make sure Padilla's ready before you do that.
Whoa, Blue.
Wow.
Yeah, but real quick, I'll answer. Yeah, I'm fine with Hensman at guard. I think he's probably better there. But like Cory said, he might actually be your best center right now, so you have to kind of sacrifice. Blue Wolverine.
He just got us all a McChicken meal.
Blue Wolverine.
$49.99 super chat from
nice.
Blue Wolverine.
I will only criticize Michigan in the next episode, not this one anymore. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, tip of the cap to you,
next couple minutes, I won't criticize them at all.
That Burke says what everybody's thinking. What does Blue Wolverine do for a living? What is Blue Wolverine, Uncle D?
Let me tell you what Blue Wolverine does. He helps us a lot. Now, Blue Wolverine actually does give us some super chats quite often, but he also usually sends out several memberships every show. So he has definitely helped to grow our show, just like all of our loyal listeners.
You know how he made his money? He bet on Ohio State to win it all before the season began. So,
is that
Blue
what it is?
Wolverine, what a gentleman and a scholar. No, well, that's really cool of him. That is really cool.
That's really cool. In all sincerity,
That's what I said.
awesome.
The few Michigan fans that we have that come in are actually really good guys.
Wait, Buckeye fans, like, hold on, Chris. Let's juice this. Buckeye fans, you gonna let a Michigan fan out give you like that? You're just gonna let him sit there and
they're
outspend
beating
you?
us in every sport right now, and you're gonna beat you in Snapchats too. Jeez.
He said, "Oh, I work for a Fortune 100." Well, you know, hats off to you for remembering the little people while you're up there. You know, that's really cool of you. It really is.
Or
That
in
is
my
really
case, they're not so little.
Maybe you can get some cold medicine, Chris.
I'll tell you.
You get the good stuff,
So,
not the great value. You get the NyQuil.
I've got the NyQuil. I'm all right.
Oh man, you fancy.
You know what? Teacher pay may not be great, but the insurance isn't too bad.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, hey, this has been a lot of fun tonight. Johnny, before we go, any parting shots, any parting words? Want to let people know where they can find you?
You can find me on Twitter. That's all I'm doing right now. We have a Scarlet N Great Instagram. Just type out Scarlet and Great. Twitter at Scarlet Great JL. Thank you so much, Chris, for letting me come on. It's been a blast.
Oh, I appreciate you coming on, and you and Cory putting the band back together and helping carry the load, so I didn't have to talk a whole lot tonight. So, as much as I love to hear the sound of my own voice, you know. Cory, any final thoughts before we go for the evening?
Tune in tomorrow, 8:30. I'll be home after Bible study at my church, and we'll be talking about Julian Sain. I'm going to go into a little bit of a deep dive as to why I think he's the next great Ohio State quarterback.
Awesome. And that's 8:30. You will find him here on the tube. So, hey, as always, guys, appreciate you watching. OH.
Ayo.
Go Bucks.